camera out, so I think we're going to bump into a leopard. Would you imagine that? So Chitwa Dam might be a completely good call. Nobody gave me an update about anything here, so I think Peter might have just bumped this right now. But if it is I'm going to be super happy, but I will laugh as well. Because what are the chances that we come this way and there's a leopard here? The way he's photographing, it is a leopard. There's a leopard right there with a kill. Look at that. Yes. It's a leopard with a kill. It looks like Hosana. Scrub hair kill. Go guys, how's that? So leopard magic continues. Nice, well done. So I was coming to Chitwa Dam in the hope that we would see something, and I was kind of thinking maybe Hosana would be around as well, but how cool is this? And he's just caught that scrub hair. Look, you can see he's kind of just grabbed it. It is definitely Hosana now that I can see his eyes. Well done, boy. Now, we were talking earlier about how these royal cubs have really grown into incredible individuals that have learned how to hunt and to do their business that they need to do. And look at that. There he is with the kill right there for us. How magic is that? Now, I know our alphabet game is going, but we are throwing that right out the window now because we're just going to sit with Hosana for the remainder of the afternoon. This is so, so special. You little champion, well done. So Peter's celebrating over there, and Peter's done a sterling effort for us. So we're giving Peter a longitudinal high five, which is a high five from far away. This is how we do it, and there he goes, off he goes. Now I'm going to try and quickly just get round because I'm on a little ridge here, which is quite difficult to get into. And so I want to try and get to where he's going. Careful, Seb, it's going to be a bit of a bump down. But well done, Hosana. You are really growing up into a fine young individual. You're right there, Seb. Good stuff. Oh, there we go. Big bump. And I'm so impressed with him. He's come such a long way in such a short time. As we were talking about earlier, he's really kind of learnt how to do what he needs to do to find food. And we were talking earlier about timber and kills that he might have made. These kind of things are exactly what these guys go after regularly, is scrub hares and birds, and nobody's going to be any the wiser if he had caught this and we weren't here, because he'll finish this by tomorrow morning, no problem. No ways he's going to still have this by the morning, so he'll be able to finish it and be eating it. And you'll find tomorrow morning we'll be on the move again. But Chitwa seems to have become his home, and I'm quite happy with that. If he's going to end up being the dominant male around Chitwa, well, we won't say no to that either. I think he's going to settle down. Oh, he's going to play with his scrub hair. Look, so there's still... Jimmy, you say, yes, this is your favorite leopard. Well, Jimmy, I think you are not alone. There's many a person that loves Hosana and is their favorite, so I would imagine that you will have good company, and he is a beautiful individual. So you see, look how he's watching around, because when he killed the scrub hare, it would have made a bit of a noise. So he's just making sure that nobody else is here, no hyenas are around, before he'll start to feed. Are you going to just check down there? Roshni, you say our little chief isn't so little anymore, and bravo. Well, exactly, Roshni. He's growing into a fine young fella. Look at how beautiful he looks, and he's getting stockier by the day and bigger by the day. He is a beautiful, beautiful cat, and he's transcended from a cub to a sub-adult with absolute ease and skill. He's become one of our sort of leopards that we've seen with regular meals and regular carcasses, so he's done fantastically well, and is an animal that has really taken to solitary life very, very, very easily. And it's amazing how well leopards actually can do it. You know, a lot of people would have heard of a leopard cub at 12 months going off on his own, or it was just after 12 months, and they would have thought he would have had a struggle, but you can see by this that he's really done well. I mean, in the week that I've been back, he's had a steenbok, an impala, and now a scrub hare. But he's going to disappear down the gully, so I'm going to try and just go round. Isn't that awesome, Seb?
Oh, so awesome.
Peyton, you say Hosana with the kill is an automatic victory to the alphabet game. Well, I think so. I think we've been very victorious in that we've been able to find a leopard on our afternoon, and literally, if Peter hadn't been here, we still would have found him because we were coming right to Chitwa Dam. So I think we can give ourselves a pat on the back. Well, Seb actually, because Seb was the one that said Chitwa is where we need to go. So Seb actually needs the credit more than what I do. I agreed with him that Chitwa would be a nice place, but he was saying we need to head to that way while we were watching one of the catch-up clips because he wanted a bit of the sunshine. And so we're going to give Seb this one and make it his find, basically. Now, I wonder if we're going to keep up with him because he's going into a horrible, horrible place. But we'll try and keep up with him. This is actually, funny enough, a place where I had a rather interesting altercation with Kruger the one day. She almost ate me here. I ended up having to shout at her and try and keep her at bay. She was probably no less than a meter from me, growling and hissing. And it was because she was mating with the mvula, and I had walked into her, and she also had to kill up a tree that I couldn't see, and I walked under the tree by mistake, and she was on the other side and of this little drainage section that Hosana went into, and she wanted to eat me. So it was not a very pleasant situation, and one that I hopefully won't have to repeat ever again. Now, he's somewhere inside here. Hosana, you've parked in a very bad place. I don't want to block Peter because he can't see. Seb, I'm going to try and go a little bit further back for you and try and look up this drainage a little bit. I also have a very fond memory of this particular drainage line, and just to give you an idea of how much things have changed and how much it's dried up, I'm going to show you a picture shortly of what this looked like in 2012. So in 2012, this was a very different looking area, and I'm going to show you exactly what it looked like in comparison to now. So you guys can see just how much this drought has had an effect in this particular section. I'm just got to find the picture now. So there we go. Right, there's our dead scrub here. Now, hold on, Sebs, let me just quickly clean my screen because we've got little grubby paw prints all over it. And my hands are a bit grubby from rusty steering. Right, so this is Wabayiza, Tandi's son, on a kill sitting on the bank exactly on the other side there. So right where we are now is straight across is where I had him on this kill. So look at that lush green vegetation. Now, then look what it looks like now. Now it is a straight across. That is exactly where we had him, is on that side. It's eroded a little bit more, but how's that? Very different. So you can just see the extent of what's happened with the drought, which is amazing. So it's a very different appearance to what it used to be. But Hosana has now decided it's time to sleep on his kill. There you go. You can see he's now lying on top of his scrub here. What are you doing? You must eat it, not sleep on it. Vicky, you say he always seems to play with his food before eating it. He is a funny cat. I don't know why. I suppose it's a bit... Well, sorry about that, guys. It seems that we've got a little bit of interference here in Chitwa. We're behind the dam wall, so it might be causing a bit of a problem. So we're sitting as dead still as we can. We've moved a little bit, but Hosana is now starting to play with his kill again, just like a young cat would. You can see he's picking it up and clawing at it and kind of seeing if it's still alive. Look at that. Look at the size of his paws now, and now he's going to lie there. It's a bit gruesome, so if you are a bit squeamish, now's the time to look away. Unfortunately, this is the best view we can get, because if I go back, I'm going to lose signal again, and this bank is not exactly stable, so I don't want to go any closer to the bank than what I currently am, because Rusty falling inside there is going to result in, well, a whole car in there on its side and myself and Seb out with the leopard on a kill, which we don't really want. So we're going to stay where we are, and I'm sure he's going to play with it quite a bit, so he's going to move around and kind of mess around with it and poke at it and play with it and sort of do what young leopards do, really, and then eventually he'll tuck into it. But he's got himself into a perfect place, because down in here there's going to be no wind drifting onto hyenas and varying other predators, so he can feed off that in peace. Ilana, you're 14 years old and hope you are having a wonderful day. You want to know how old is Hosana now? Well, Hosana was a year old in March, so he's now 12th of March, I think it was. 12th of March or 12th of February? I always get that wrong, but he's basically now March, April, May, June, July, August. Months are going on quickly now. So he's now 19 months, I think, is about right. Am I right? 19 months? Is that right, Seb?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, a year and a half old. Let's call it that. So he's a year and a half old now, so he's still a youngster. He's by no way a dominant individual yet. By no way is he even a big male yet. He's still growing. And it seems he's got one or two little bite marks on the back of his head. So I wonder if he's had a bit of a run-in with Tingana or somebody else. You see there's a few little disturbances there. So maybe he's had a little bit of a altercation with somebody. He's absolutely fine otherwise. He's not limping or anything. But there is just a little bit of an indication that he's had some sort of struggle on the back of his head there. And you can see his head is moving quite a bit. It's because of all the flies. Look at the flies on his ears that are busy causing absolute havoc. This is so cool. Leopard with a kill. Hippos in the background calling. Sun setting. Joshua, you say, Hosana, you silly cat. Look at this. This is what we're surrounded by. We've got that beauty above us. We've got the beautiful Hosana below us playing with his kill. Hippos behind us that are calling. Fish eagles that have called. It is the most magical setting to be in. And what a way. Started out with the hopes of finding one of these individuals, and we really have come right. So I think we'll just have to give some credit to Megan, because Megan threw out the positive vibes by playing a catch-up clip of the Little Royals. So we're bound to then find one. We had to find one so as that we could relive it in real time again with the Royals, and one of them at least. Hopefully Shongile will be on the way home. Wouldn't that be spectacular? If only Hosana would just move slightly, it would be really a little bit better for us. I'm just scared to move because, like I say, with the signal issues, I don't really want the gremlins to take over again. So we'll wait for him. Also, with him, it's going to round and move, and it'll be up and down all over the show. And a little bit of an itchy neck. But that scrub hare, once he does start eating, will be a quick feast. It's not going to last long. He'll crunch through that in an hour or two. He's not going to be here for all night, but I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow morning to try and sort of come down here and check, because he might still be here in the morning. Okay, I'm going to try and move. Megan says we're going to try it, and let's see, maybe just don't know where I'm going to go to, because I also don't want to give him a fright, because we are right on top of him. I just don't want to give him any sort of reason to get a little bit of a sort of... Sabi, you just tell me if you can see him from when we go here. No, nothing, eh? Will I be in the way if I move? Hold on. Grass in the way, plenty. Still. Let's see, it's difficult. I think Seb's battling because the grass is all in the way. You can see there he's behind quite a thick bank of grass. Let me see.
When we go on the other side, about there.
Let's just see, because he is going to move now. So you can see he's still playing with it and moving. Come on. If he moves it a little bit out of where it is now and away from this close bank, then it's going to work to go back where we were. Let's see if he lies there. If you lie there, then we're going to... No, now you're going to put the stick with... There we go, playing with the scrubby again. I think let's go back again. It's going to be better. So I'm going to go back again because Seb's really battling the way we are here. Version of thermal that Seb and I have tried to recreate from the only place that we can get signal. It's so far away, and with the spotlight it almost looks like a thermal image of Hosana playing with his scrub hair. There's no other way that we can get to anywhere close to where he is to see him clearly. We've tried every available option, but there's just no signal from anywhere but where he is. But it looks like he's walking towards us. Is he walking? No, he's sat down again. Oh, it's very difficult. Unfortunately, just the angle of the banks doesn't really work. This is the kind of clearest view that we can get. Now, I was trying to think of a way to maybe try and get to where he is, and to try and see if I can kind of get down into the drainage itself. But the problem with that is that we won't have signal inside there. So, alas, we sit and we hope that he moves slightly, that we'll get a better view of him. The infrared will just help us at least to see him outside of the light. Like I say, for him though, it's a clever place. It's not ideal for us, but it's very clever for him. Della, you're asking if it's hard work for him catching the scrub hare. Well, any hunting is hard work, They stalk and they expend energy going low to the ground, creeping. And a scrub hare is a fleet-footed animal, so it meant he would have had to have really caught it by surprise and chased it a few steps, and there would have been some energy exerted. But it's not like wrestling with a big fully grown male impala where you'd have to hold on and suffocate it. Once he's grabbed the scrub hare, then it's quite quick and easy for him to kill it. So not as hard work as the big antelope species, but still a bit of work nonetheless, and he's definitely done well to be able to catch what he's caught and to get the food that he needs. You can see he's just playing now. You're a silly cat. Sharon, you asking how long before leopards leave their mothers? Well, generally between... Oh, where are you off to? You can see he's having a full game. Between 14 months and 2 years, that's generally what we see with leopards. That's how they normally will kind of spend their years or months with a mother, and then the mothers start to move off. But it depends on the leopard. Sometimes a little bit earlier, sometimes a bit later. The most extreme I've seen is 3.5 years. That's the longest I've ever seen a male leopard stay with his mom. And also I've seen a leopard at 10 months old being left by its mother. So it just depends on the individual and the mother itself, and the availability of food and all kinds of other things that go into it. It really is a pity that he's just lying behind that clump of grass. If he was 1 meter the other side of that clump of grass, we would have the most perfect view of him from where we are now, because it's a nice sort of gap that we've got here, and if he had gone and lay in this more open section, it would have been far more pleasant. But with him playing so much, maybe he's going to pick it up and run this way, and we'll see him coming into this area. Christy, you want to know the largest animal that I've seen Hosana hunt? Well, we saw him the other day with an impala that looked like one of the yearlings, but I know that he has killed a fully grown male impala and put it up into a tree. So he has killed that, which is a large individual. I mean, that's a large animal for even a female leopard, so he's done fairly well with that. But that's it. I haven't heard of him going after kudu yet or anything like that, or warthog, big male warthogs, which he will in time. And once he becomes a big male leopard, he's definitely going to start going after things like that. It's just going to take a bit of time for him to get to be strong enough and big enough to really tackle those guys and make it easy enough for him to grab them and pull them down. You know, when he's still so small like he is now, he doesn't have the strength yet to fight with those big antelope. Remember, he only probably weighs, I would say, at most at the moment, about 120 pounds or 60 kilograms, whereas kudu and big male warthogs, those are well over 100. So they're going to be strong, powerful animals, and are going to make it very difficult for him. You see, when he comes out a little bit, it's really quite nice. It's beautiful watching him, and we can see him playing. Look at that. What are you doing, silly cat? Are you having fun? You're expending more energy playing than you would have done to hunt it. Cat's Tails, you saying Hosana is making your days having so much fun. I know it is. It's amazing when you see a cat like this, when they just seem to have lots of joy in them, and there's lots of energy, and they're jumping around, and they're chasing, and they're trying to bite things, and it's just a wonderful experience. It's a good way to kind of finish your day in a good place, and there's something about wild animals when they are playful that just fills you with, you know, a sense of happiness and a sense of that there is more to this world than the doom and gloom that we see on the news every day, and that moments like this are special And that we're very privileged to be able to spend time with a cat like this and watch its playful nature, especially one that we know so well and have followed for so long. What are you doing? Paula, you're wondering if they're playing with it just to make it more tender and easier to eat. Well, Paula, no, not really. So it's more just, he's a young leopard. If you found somebody like Tingana or Mvula, they wouldn't do this. They would just grab it and they would just start chomping away. It's more a youthful phase that he's going through. It's not in any way tenderizing that meat. You'd have to play with it a lot harder than what he is now. It's just that he's a young leopard. He's, theoretically could still have been with his mom, in which case he would have been playing with her and he would have been playing with his sister, and it would have been a whole lot different in his life. So he's still got that curious cub nature, and so it's more that than anything else. Once he gets older and more territorial, you'll find that this will stop and he won't become as playful with his food, and definitely will not sort of chuck it around as much as what he's doing now. Also shows you that he's not particularly hungry, because if he was ravenous, he would have tucked into that very quickly. So he's come off 2 big kills, and that means that he's actually can take it quite easy and not have to stress about shoving it in too fast. Sounds like some of the hippos are pushing one another around behind the damn wall as well. Come boy, come this way. No, you're going further down. You know what, Seb? I wonder if we go further down, we might get a better view of him now. Oh, he looks like he looks like a rodeo bull.
Nice to be close to him.
Now he's looking up at us as if to say, what do you guys, why are you laughing at me? But he was jumping around like when you see those bulls get let out of a rodeo, in a rodeo sort of circuit, and they go crazy and back legs are jumping all over the place. That's what it looked like when he was doing that. So you can see how far he is. He's a long way away. I'm going to try and see if we can get a bit closer, because it's just so magical watching him play like this. Hopefully we won't lose reception, but we're going to risk it anyway, because it really is so nice to see him playing. But from where we are, we're missing a lot of what's going on from being too far away. So we're going to risk it. I hope none of you will mind, and hopefully it will be worthwhile for us. We're going to try and just see, Seb, if we go here. I wonder. I mean, I could get down there, but it's like I say, we probably would lose reception if I went down there. So I'm going to try and just get in to a point where we can maybe try. Hopefully, like I say, that we will keep reception. So we still have me apparently, and we still have a branch and a tires, hopefully, after going through that. Here we go. There's going to be your best bet, I think, Seb. How's that? So I'll get out of your way, but this is going to be much better for us to... No, don't go around the corner now. Excellent, we still have reception, which is fantastic news. But this is much better. Now we can at least see him and not a blob of light in the distance. But he's so playful. What are you doing? We're being spoiled tonight. These kind of sightings are not every day, and we don't get to see this activity of leopards all that often. So it really is a special thing to see. And Marion, you say it reminds you of your pet cat. Well, exactly. It's just like a domestic cat playing with a mouse or something like that. In fact, Graham Wallington, who's sent us a video the other day in the staff group of his pet cat playing with the mouse, and it's a very similar situation. It seems as though he's really gotten... There we go. Oh, oh no, it's attacking him. What are you doing, you silly cat? And this is just all good. And even though he's playing with it, it's actually really good because he's learning little techniques. So he's using his paws, he's biting at it, and this will all stand him in good stead when he's actually going to be hunting. When he grabs a prey item, this will all help in that regard. So even though it looks like a game to him, he's still honing skills and building muscle in those legs and around that throat and around that neck area that's going to really help him later in life be able to hunt better. And so these things are very important. It's the same as when he was playing with Shongile and the rest. This would have really helped him kind of develop the skills to hunt. And maybe all those games with Shongile up the trees and down the trees and falling in and out and chasing things has what made him into the hunter that he is today. Also, he would have watched Karula and he would have got some serious amount of lessons from her. She's definitely would have taught him some things. No, don't go behind the corner there. Come back this side. It was so nice when he was on this side because we could see him really playing with what he was with the scrub hare. No, don't go that way. No. Seems as though he's going to lie down where we can't see him. Hosana, that's not very nice of you. It seems as though the best spot for us to see is exactly where we have no signal, which is just Murphy's Law as well. And gremlins always hide in the best spots. So I'll try and evict the gremlins, and hopefully he will come back round. With the scrub here lying closer to where we are, he hopefully will move round that corner again back towards us. I don't think there's any other way we're going to be able to see him than from where we are now. Cat's tails, you say, Hosana's? Pure joy is infectious. It is infectious. Well, I'm going to try and move one more time because we can't just sit and stare at a blank bank of sand. So hopefully this will not lose signal and we'll be able to still see what's going on. I'm going to try and sneak in. The nice thing about having smaller Land Rovers is that we can just get into small little gaps like this. So careful there, Seb. He's right below me, so we should be able to see him. So can you see him from there, Seb? Let's see. We're going to be all right, Seb. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Wonderful. That's better. So we can actually see, and we can see the scrub here. And we've got strong signal, according to Megan. Well, that's fantastic news. So it is a bit of an aerial view. This is not a view you'll get every day of a leopard, watching from above and seeing his head and his neck and his back so clearly. But it is a nice view nonetheless. At least we can see him and we can see where he is and how he's going to play around with his scrub here. It should be a lot better than where we were all those sort of that distance away. The problem is I can't go much closer than this, otherwise the vehicle's going to be in the way, so we're in the perfect place. You can see he's itching a little bit in those wounds. I would imagine flies are landing on them every now and then. You can see he's got lots of issues with flies. We were talking about it earlier, that there are a lot around. With this increase in heat, all of a sudden we've had a lot more flies. I would imagine also with the increase in heat has meant that there's an increase in the predators catching food, because animals are going to become far more weaker when it comes into this heat, and they're going to have to try and, go down towards waterholes like Chitwa, where Hosana and varying other leopards are going to be lying in wait. We know at Treehouse Dam is where he had his last kill. Tundi killed at Treehouse Dam, and so there's going to be a lot more weak animals, which means that there's a lot more carcasses where flies can lay eggs and therefore reproduce. We also know that last year we had an absolute boom in the fly numbers because of the dead buffalo and hippos that were all over the place due to the drought. So lots of flies, Hosana crazy, but many others as we try and see. You relaxed at all. He's very restless with. But it's still a really cool view. It's such a different perspective of a leopard. It's not very often leopards actually, they're relaxed enough to allow vehicles to park pretty much on top of them. And when I say on top of them, I mean above them. They tend to be a little bit more kind of wary of a vehicle above them than they are of a vehicle. Look, he's stalking and he's going to pounce. Oh, it's stuck to his. Such an incredible sighting. So, there's a spotlight, and that's because, unlike us that have IR vision, affect the animals, the guys out here that have guess, they can't see when it gets dark, so they use a spotlight, and they'll use spotlights on animals that are active at night. And Hosana's eyes and his pupils are active, and he'll be able to react to the spotlight very quickly, and it doesn't have too much effect. He was telling me that the lights actually don't affect cats' eyes as much as you would think it would. So the spotlight, as much as I know it's a little bit irritating of it dancing around all over the place, it is necessary for the other guys to be able to see what's going on. So just bear with it. I'm afraid it's just part of the safari experience out here. We're so fortunate at Djuma that generally we spend a lot of time with our leopards on our own, and that's when we can go into infrared and we can, be far more ethical towards any of the animals by using that infrared light. And you must remember that it wasn't long ago that we didn't have infrared ourselves, and we used to have to use spotlights and various floodlights on the car to be able to try and see animals in the dark when they're at their most active. You must remember that these cats, now that it's dark, is when he's going to be active. You know, you would have spent the whole day resting. Oh, look at this. We are being spoiled. This is so cool. What are you doing? How amazing is this? Rose, bit macabre, but quite funny. You say that it was doing more things dead than it was when it was alive. Yes, I think it's definitely moving, doing a lot more flick-flacks than what it would have done when it was alive, which is, I mean, it's a sad thing when you see an animal that's no longer alive, but at the end of the day, they need to be eaten, and the predators need to survive somehow, so that's how it all works. Now, this car is leaving, which means the spotlight will go off for a bit, so we'll switch to infrared, which means that it will go a little bit darker, and it will go black and white, that we can actually see him. And so you can see, look what he's doing now. He's now going to start feeding, I think. He's licking and grooming, getting rid of all that fur, because that fur is very difficult for him to be able to digest. And now he's using his teeth to just pluck it. You see? So he's plucking bits of fur off, getting rid of that before he can expose the skin, when he'll start then to feed off it. So this is the start of him feeding. First he played a little bit, now he's plucking, and then once he's plucked and opened that skin, then you'll find he's going to start really eating. And as I said, I'd be very surprised if he's still in the exact same spot tomorrow morning. This will be finished fairly quickly. Mouth and his paws, in comparison to that food item, it's not going to last very long, and he'll feed off that. But then there's water right here, so I don't think he's going to go too far. I'd imagine he'll be somewhere close. Look at all the fur that he's gotten just from plucking. It's amazing how they can use those teeth. You would think that they would struggle with the teeth to be able to actually pull it out, but you can see just how much fur he pulled out, and now he's got some stuck in his teeth. It can't be very pleasant when you get fur stuck in your teeth, and his tongue is so full of hooks that it's going to make it very difficult to actually get that fur out. It's often funny to watch cats when they feed like this. How amazing is this, guys? What a way for us to have spent our last sort of 45 minutes of drive. I think it's about half an hour, 45 minutes. We really have been spoilt by Hosana. He's not just been a flat, tired, hot cat. He's had his scrub hair, and that the scrub hair was dangling in his mouth, and now to watch him playing all over the place really is super special. And you can see, look, he's listening to the hippos and all the other cars that are coming, because there's going to be 2 other cars arriving, because it's now the time of the day where the guys are starting to go back to their lodges, and we're right at Chitwa Lodge. So the Chitwa guides are coming in this direction, which means we also are going to have to make space fairly shortly, because there is 3 vehicles that want to come in here, so we don't want to hog it too much, but we'll stay a little bit longer since it's almost the end of our drive, and then the others can come in. But they're really going to struggle. So, Sebastian, you're wondering if leopards sleep on the ground or in the trees. The answer to that, obviously leopards, everyone kind of has this notion that they are only tree-dwelling creatures. That's not actually true. So leopards do spend a lot of their time in not only trees, but on the ground. In fact, more time on the ground than in trees. They go up into trees when they have carcasses, or if it's really hot and there's a lot of insects that are irritating them on the ground, then they'll go up into a tree to try and rest there. Or if it's very wet on the ground, then you'll find that they go up into the trees. But you can see once the light goes off, it's very difficult. Even the infrared light is being blocked by the light of the infrared, by the grass, I should say. So I'll try and just see if I can help you there, Seb, although he's tucked his head behind a lot of grass. So this light will just be able to help us see through the grass, because otherwise our infrared light is all being absorbed by the grass and we can't see beyond it. So I'm just going to try and shine a little bit and see, just for the last few minutes while we watch him. I was surprised. I thought he was going to start feeding properly, but he seems to have now decided that's enough. He's not going to eat just yet. He'll go back to that just now. Obviously didn't like the taste of fur. Tony, you say he's going to get a hairball? Yes, well, a very big hairball. by the time he's actually eaten through that entire scrub hare, because the scrub hare is going to be difficult to groom all that hair off. You'll find he will eat some of it, and even when he defecates, there's going to be a lot of hair in that dung. And you find after this, often they'll go and eat grass, and the grass will just help them sometimes get a little bit sick, and that gets out all that stuff that they're battling to digest. So maybe a few bits of bone and hair that is kind of in that area. Come on, boy, wait. Go back to your kill where we can see you a little bit better. There we go. He's listening to us. I think he's going to stalk it again. Paul, you say even in black and white they look amazing. Well, Paul, there's something about the black and white that just brings out the contrast of their coat. So those rosette looks that much better. Oh, look at him go. I'm going to turn off my light because there's somebody else that's got a light there, and we can see now that he's in the open. But you can see the contrast of the coat, and there's just something about it. The other thing that there is a million mosquitoes here. Can you hear them, Seb? Buzzing around our ears. So there's mosquitoes everywhere, which is the first sign of mosquitoes of the summer, and means that we're probably in all likelihood going to get overrun at some point. If there's already mosquitoes in this dry weather, as soon as it gets to the wet weather, we're going to have a bit of a problem, I think. So I'll have to start packing some of our mosquito repellent over the next little bit. Now he's tucking in to start feeding. See, I think he's also struggling with all the insects as well. I suppose, with the lights and varying other things, the insects will be attracted to this area. We're also right next to a dam, so the insects are going to be far more. It's maybe why he stops feeding, is it just the insects get a little bit too much and irritate him, and then he kind of walks away for a bit and hopes that the insects move off, and then he goes back again. The nice thing for him is that the flies will disappear as the night goes on, so he's not going to have to worry about flies too much. It's just going to be more the little midges and mayflies and varying other little insects that come out of the water, and obviously mosquitoes as well. But unfortunately, I think he's going to settle right there where we can't really see much of his face anymore. Also, there's quite a number of vehicles that want to come into this area, so I think what we're going to do so I believe all of you are saying he must just eat it already. Well, it would be nice, wouldn't it, if he did decide to just start eating it, because he's kind of played and he's messed around for quite a while today, and it would be nice if he just sort of started crunching down and that was the end of that. But it seems as though he is starting to do that. It looks as though he's gotten far more comfortable now. He's found himself a tight little spot, and he's slowly but surely looks like he's starting to eat. It's difficult from where Seb is because of that long grass that's in the way of his face, but from where I am I can see he's slowly but surely starting to put his mouth down and crunch down a little bit more than he's actually licking. So I think he is going to start feeding soon. Maybe not, if the insects are anything to do with it. Come on, Hosana, you must eat your meal. Like I say, he's probably expended more energy playing with it than he's actually going to get out of the scrub here. I don't think he's going to get that much nutrition out of it, and yet he's spent so much playing around. Now, Sharon, you say you're thanking the scrub here for allowing Hosana a nutritional meal and to survive. Well, this is the way it works out here. Some days the prey wins, sometimes the predators do. And if you think this week we followed Hosana, we followed Tingana, we followed Shadow, all three of them hunted, all three of them got within 5 meters, but not one of them was successful. So the prey items do get away a lot, and it is vitally important that the predators obviously feed to stay healthy. So as much as it's sad to see carcasses and to see dead animals, like I say, it's vitally important for these predators to get their nutrition. Otherwise we wouldn't see them, and we wouldn't have these amazing characters that we do in the form of Hosana and Shungila and Tamba and all these leopards that we get to see on a daily basis. It would be a lot sort of bleaker world if we didn't get to see them, that's for sure. I know many of you love spending time with them. Right, it's that time of the day though. It's time for me to start saying goodbye, because we're reaching that stage, and I believe a lot of you have enjoyed the solo drive. I've immensely enjoyed myself as well, and it's thanks to all of you for asking lots of questions and being a part of it, and I hope that you really enjoyed this afternoon as we went around the alphabets. We didn't really get too far, and if the internet's not working in the Mara tomorrow, well, we'll just continue in the morning with the rest in the second half of the alphabet. But it's been such a fantastic afternoon. I've really enjoyed it. We've bumbled about, we've seen lots of interesting little things, discussed trees and various other stuff, and then we finished it off with, well, the best way that you could, and that's a leopard. So let's take one last look of our leopard while I enjoy all the insects that are around my lights and in my face. But for myself and Sebastian and Megan,